Welcome to the G-Spot.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Hello everybody, welcome to Dynamic GT League's G-Spot for G41. Again, I'm doing this on my own. Ray's not with me, mainly because he doesn't know I'm doing this at the moment. But also because I'm about 2 weeks late on getting the G-Spot done, so I do apologise everybody. It's just been a very busy off-season time. Okay, so what is the G-Spot all about? Well, interestingly, with us having done some open lobbies and looking for new drivers, some of those may be listening to this thinking, what the fuck is this? Well, basically, a couple of things really. When incidents get reported and dealt with by the stewards, the G-Spot is where we'll actually have a look at it. So the stewards will put their report out, the information, very basic information. Please don't mistake the basic information as laziness into looking into incidents. We put out the basic information because we know from experience that putting out a full detailed description, many people won't read it. So we put the base details, and then on the G-Spot, we can actually have a look at an incident and we can explain why a decision may have been given or may not have been given. So that's one of the things it looks we can do. We can also have a look at some of the weird and wonderful things that happen in the DGT League races, whether it be crashes, smashes, messes up by one person, messes up by many people. So some of the funny and weird and wonderful things that happen in league racing. Also, it's an opportunity for myself to just talk. What we will say though as well, I mean, we've said it for a long time, if people do want us to look at things from races on the G-Spot, feel free to let us know, whether it be decent overtakes or clarifications of things, or if somebody wishes to volunteer their footage, or as in volunteer permission for us to do a deep dive on someone's race, then feel free to do that. And basically did one of those on Conrad a few weeks ago, and it is literally a deep dive. We'd look at I'd look at your race footage and I'd go through it bit by bit, basically going through all the information of what I see from your race, and that might be whether you make dodgy overtakes or do dodgy things, or people do dodgy things to you. So yeah, if you feel like volunteering your footage for that, or yourself for that, crack on. I think the one I did for Conrad's footage, I think it went on for about 2 hours, but I did find it very interesting to actually record it. Whether people found it interesting listening to it and watching it, I don't know, but yeah, feel free to let us know. Okay, now as I mentioned, a couple of weeks late on this G-Spot, there was not an incident, there was a moment reported from, I think it was the final race, the final race of the last championship, which was put forward to from the stewards to go on a G-Spot because, it wasn't really a report, but we'll get on to that. So that's one thing we'll look at. But also, there was an incident from a previous race, not an incident as such, but there was a big crash that happened that we kind of saw the arse end of on the race footage on the commentary from, I think it was this race 7. And yeah, unfortunately, just because of how busy I've been, I'd not been able to get a G-Spot done for it. So that is what we're going to have a look at first, I think, if I've got it in the right order. I'm trying to think now. Yeah, I think it is. Yes, it is. So enough waffle from me. Actually, something else. Okay, so hopefully the contents of this G-Spot is going to be looking at a big crash that happened on lap I can't remember what lap, but race 7 that we saw on the race footage. Then looking at this one from the final race where something was reported to us or mentioned to us. I'll go through that in more detail at the time. Then I'm hoping to put the short lap guide on here, but then also I'm hoping I'm a little bit pushed for time today, but I'm hoping to do a stint guide. So in the next championship we're using the Aston Martin DBR9, the Group 3 car. It's a brilliant car, sounds amazing, drives amazing. Some people may be struggling with it. So I want to do a lap guide where I can just show the braking points and things like that. And when I do that, the braking points I'm going to show are going to be for a race. Okay, it's not going to be to get the fastest lap. Now, the reason I want to do a separate race stint is because I know some people don't want to watch a video more than 2 minutes long. If that's the case, you wouldn't have got this far into this. But also, I want to be able to show how the tyres are going to behave over a stint length. So I'm hoping to add those on to this G-Spot. Now, I might just do the stint length on this G-Spot video. I don't know yet, because literally once I've finished audio recording this bit, I am going to be jumping onto the PlayStation to do a few laps. And it's all going to depend on how long it takes me to actually drive those laps. Okay, right, enough waffle from me. Let's crack on. G1, they all race for a spin, then they all come at once. Okay, so what we got here? Okay, so this is race 7, or Topper's got Bob. Oh, and we've got cars off in the background. Now, this is actually showing more than we saw on the race footage at the time. So we will go through and have a look. Oh, hello to our line. So let's see. We've got Bob. Oh, Jimmy's gone a little bit wide, so Bob's going for the move. That's all fine. Oh, they get a little bit close. Not much in that. Jimmy's gone wide. Oh, now Gary and Rich are off. Okay. Oh, looked like a bit of lag. Oh, wow. So it looked like a bit of lag from Connor's car there. So look at Jimmy. Yeah, so Jimmy goes deep. Bob goes up the inside. Not a lot in this. I wouldn't really put any blame on either driver there. Oh, yeah, Gary comes steaming through. Oh, God has disappeared. And Jimmy gets away. Okay, so let's have a look from Rich's view. He's ended up being pushed wide. Would I put any blame on Gary for that? I don't think so. But let's have a look from Gary's view, shall we? Yeah, Gary's got nowhere to go. So, yeah, I wouldn't put any blame on Gary. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Right, so I wouldn't put any blame on Gary for pushing Rich wide. There was nowhere he could go. And then it would appear that Connor's lagged back, then hit the back of Gary, which has hit the back of Twilight and absolutely killed him. Okay, now that is very Twilight watching all this play out. You know what he's thinking? Hey, what a move, what a move, whoa! Yeah, bit of a shock there for Twilight, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he had no idea there that Gary was actually perhaps hit by Connor's car there. Interestingly, I mean, with the lag like that, I mean, it's absolutely impossible for us to know exactly what happened there. I mean, I don't know whether Connor, if he's watching this, may be able to comment what he saw, or perhaps clip a video of it or something, I don't know, or let us download his replay and we can see it from his view. Because, yeah, I mean, although Rich and Gary ended up off wide, I don't think I could put any blame on either one of those for that. I wouldn't really put any blame on Jimmy, because, I mean, he's got to come back to the track. I wouldn't put any blame on Bob. I think it's just a massively unfortunate situation. And then the lag, yeah, I mean, puts him behind Gary, and then all of a sudden it's hit Gary, and I wouldn't necessarily put blame on Connor for that either, although one of the things we do say in the rules is that you are responsible for your connection. But that's not me putting the blame on Connor, because if he's had all the cars lag around him, he would have had no way of dealing with what had happened there, or knowing what had happened there for certain. So yeah, big crash. And and I don't really know what happened. But there you go. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Right. Okay. Let's move on to. I was going to say let's move on to the next one, but before I do, I am going to read out some information on it. Okay, so the next bit that we're going to have a look at, basically we received a message saying not in as a report, but please take a look and give feedback to drivers if needed. Now the driver who sent that message, Arpal, was asked, what feedback do you want us to give? And they said, if looking at the footage, is determined Connor nudged me, which resulted in me running wide, and he didn't stop, then that feedback could be given to Connor. If I am mistaken, then let me know. Now, I don't know if the message was actually sent to Arpal. Okay, looks like it isn't. Okay, so I had requested a message be sent to Arpal stating, you are mistaken, and we will let you know. Now what we did was we put a steward's report out saying that a thing had been put forward, but it's been passed on to the G-Spot. So part of Arpal's message there is, if I am mistaken, then let me know. Now I am going to say that he is mistaken, and we're going to have a look at it now to see exactly what I'm on about. G2 clarification, please, to those who it may concern. Okay, so as we take a look at this is for the final race, to the final corner. We've got Arpal up, making the move up the inside of Conrad. Conrad going for the switch back, and then we see Arpal spinning around. We saw this from a distance on the race footage, but let's have a look. So on board with Arpal's bonnet, we see Bob having a little wobble. Connor on the left, Arpal taking the tight line, does everything he should for taking the tight line, and then all of a sudden ends up facing the wrong direction. So let's have a look. Did Connor spin Arpal? So we're looking from Connor's bonnet, and we'll see Arpal go up the inside. Conrad go for a switch. Oh, you know what? There is a touch there. Okay, so I can understand where Arpal's coming from. However, is there any other factor? Because if there is, interesting. Okay, so we see them. Oh, Bobby! Oh, Bobby! Okay, now I already know that happened, but if we had just looked and gone, Conrad made contact with Arpal, penalty to Conrad would be unfair. That's why we look elsewhere to see if anything else happened. What I want to point out here is that I personally believe that Bob is not aware that the contact he has with Conrad spins Arpal, and the reason being, Bob is about to make contact with Conrad now, and if we look at the views that Bob may use, from this view you can't even see Arpal. From the next view, can't see Arpal, and I don't think he uses the trail view, but you can barely see Arpal. So personally, I believe that Bob is at fault for the collision, but he has zero idea that the little contact he's made on Connor has resulted in spinning Arpal, which is why neither Conrad nor Bob wait. So I'm going to look through this in a little more detail in a moment. So once again, we go from Conrad, and what we're going to look at here is, okay, Connor was off throttle and then gets nudged from behind. It's very close timing, but it does appear that Conrad is off throttle here, right? So he's at 50 mile an hour and he's slowing down to try and tuck in behind. So as this plays on, we'll see that Connor's not on the throttle, he's at 49 mile an hour. As it plays on, he's going to slow at 48, he's still slowing. Here comes Bob. Connor's now at 45. He's still at 45, but in comes Bob now, and this is where the contact happens. Now Connor's up to 47. Yes, Connor is back on the throttle, but the contact has now put him up to 50, pushed him forward, which is now made contact with Arpal. So that contact from Bob on Connor is the reason why Arpal has spun. So if we look at the speed and his throttle application here for Connor, so he's off throttle. Yes, he got back on the throttle, but he was going to do the normal switchback, but did get bumped from behind on that one. So in respect of making people aware, I can fully understand why Arpal, looking at that, you'd look at it and think, well, Connor's nudged him and spun him round. if you go to and have a look at, well, was there anything else happening, you can see, oh, maybe Bob is involved. And Connor's in a situation there where, although yes, his car is the one that has spun Art Pal, he has been hit from behind, so it isn't Conrod's fault. Now, this is where, I mean, if Conrod was on a mic in the chat party with us at the race time, he'd be able to say, sorry, Art Pal, that I was hit from behind, it wasn't me. And then Bob may be able to go, well, hang on, I'm the car behind you and I touched you. Oh, shit, did I make you spin Art Pal? And then the answer would be yes, and then it'd be Bob that would be waiting. So in a situation where Connor's not in the chat party, that conversation can't happen. But Art Pal's obviously looked at it afterwards and seen that there's been contact between the two, perhaps not seen that Bob was also involved there. Now, if it was sent through as a report, because bear in mind, when the first message was sent on this, it was not in as a report. Now, if a driver puts that, us as stewards will literally go, right, okay, this isn't a report. So we will not be looking at giving a penalty on anything because it's not a report. It's more someone asking for a clarification. So, given that it was Bob that made the contact, the stewards wouldn't apply a penalty. Now, there were a few differences of opinions. There was a few sort of questions of, was there actually contact, and things like that. Hopefully I've cleared up that there was. But given that, for example, I've looked at that and gone, right, okay, well, it's definitely Bob that's hit the back of Conrod, and Conrod's hit Art Pal, and that's why he spun. It's Bob's fault. From a stewarding perspective, I wouldn't give Bob a penalty, because it's not been sent in as a report. Now, if it had been sent in as a report, obviously it would have been dealt with as a report within the usual time frame regarding that. But hopefully, though, Art Pal will be able to watch this and go, oh, okay, yeah, wasn't Conrod, my bad. And Bob can see it and go, shit, sorry. And if he doesn't see it, we will ask him to have a look at it, so don't worry about it. Okay, that's it really for this week's G-Spot as far as interesting information goes, I suppose, other than hopefully we're going to have some laps in the Aston Martin to show. So yeah, let's see how that goes. If I don't do that bit, then I'll say have a good one, everybody, bye bye, see you soon. And hopefully we won't have many G-Spots to do, but you never know. Racing is racing, people make mistakes, accidents happen, and funny things are always going to happen. Right, have a good one, everybody, and let's either look at some laps or see you next time. Hello everybody. Okay, so I'm going to try and do a stint guide here. It's going to be a little bit longer than the lap guide. The lap guide I've done is a couple of minutes long, and I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's trying to do a quali lap because the tyres don't last too long on the softs. Okay, I'm going to get into this. I'm going to start off on the soft compound tyre. I'm actually going to come out of the pits, go to the start finish line, and drive as if I'm going to drive a race. One thing I want to mention before we get started is on the soft tyre, you cannot do qualifying laps in the race. If you try to, you may get one lap of decent pace and then no grip. So with this car, you need to drive it. And by that I mean, don't just thrash it everywhere. It will not work. Now, generally, the brakes on this car aren't the best in the world, but that comes as a bonus because it means you've got to look after those fronts a little bit. And if you do that, the tyres will actually last quite a while. So what I'm going to do here as well is I am actually going to run the tyres into fully worn so that you can see what the differences are. So what I'm going to show here is sort of where I'm going to be braking, hopefully consistently, on the soft compound tyre so that they'll last as long as they possibly can. But bear in mind, we have a 24 lap race, I think it is, and we have to use both compounds of tyre. I may do a medium stint, I don't know yet. Anyway, okay, let's go. Now, I'm going to come out here and get past the penalty line. Do a quick 3-point turn. Try not to hurt the tyres here, because if I donut it, it will kill them. Now, another thing to remember is, okay, first off actually, if I'm shouting, I apologise, is I can't hear myself, and this car is very, very loud. Okay, if you have a big spin on the soft compound tyres, chances are they're going to be shagged. So you may want to think about getting rid of them. Now, the soft compound tyres should last you around about 10 minutes, as long as you don't abuse them. Now you may think, oh, they'll never make it, or you may suffer with understeer or oversteer. Well, hopefully now I'm going to be able to show you how to drive around those issues. Now, if you have understeer, chances are it's because you're going too fast, you're perhaps braking too late. So just bear that one in mind. Okay. So I've got full bore attack. Okay. Now, first lap of the race, I probably won't be able to take the normal racing line through there. I would probably have to defend the inside. Now, in quali mode, you get the line right over the top of the hill here. You can go like flat out. In the race, I wouldn't recommend it. A little slower through there than I wanted to be, I'm a bit off mine. So we can see we've already taken a bit of punishment on the tyres, that's natural. You'll also notice that I'm trying not to downshift too aggressively, to try and not lock up any of the tyres. But also, you may hear, I'm trying to get on the power nice and smooth. Now normally I'd brake near the curb, but I'm going to brake early. Little lift in there, just so I can apply a little more steering. If I do the steering without the lift, it's going to hurt the tyres. Listen to the throttle usage here. So, didn't get back on the power after the kink. It just saves a little bit of tyre life. Sacrifice the exit of this one to open up this one, so you steer left. That opens up this one, so you steer left, and that all saves tyre life. Listen to the throttle. Nice and smooth on. Try not to hit the wall. But you should notice that I'm not being aggressive with the car. And the reason being, if I am aggressive with the car, it will hurt the tyres more.
but also in about 2 laps time, when the tyre wear is much greater, you won't be able to drive like that anyway. But if you have been aggressive, it will be much harder to be more consistent when the tyres have worn. Yeah, so listen here. So all of that non-acceleration is just saving tyres. Yeah, I'm a little offline. Might need a lift. Yeah, we'll do a little lift, but that's okay. So a little lift there and losing a fraction of time or a position is better than losing a lap on the tyre. Again, keep an eye on things like as the throttle goes on, the steering comes off. Now, if in the race I've got a gap between me and the car behind, I may even do lifting and coasting to save the tyres a bit. So, for example, down here, just makes braking a lot more comfortable. Saves the tyres. Also, when I mentioned about you have to drive this car, you have to, I don't want to say drive it intelligently because I'm not fucking intelligent, but you do have to think about what you're doing with the car. I'm on the wrong line. Okay, went in there a little too fast, went a little bit deeper. Oh, clipped the wall. Survived though. The clipping the wall was nothing to do with the tyres, that was just me not concentrating. Now, I've not had the rear end going on me anywhere yet. Normally around here the key places, exit of turns 1 and 2, exit of Brokeback, exit of the big hairpin, exit of the final corner. And a lot of that is down to the throttle application, but also how little amount of steering input I'm actually using. Gone back on the throttle there, didn't really need to, just have it. Interestingly, the rear end got out of balance. Now it could just be the tyres are wearing, or it could be because I had that little blip of the throttle, a little bit more heat through the tyres. So whereas I could have been cooling them, I was heating them. Very careful of how much steering input you use in the hairpin there. If you don't come off your steering, you will spin. Looking over to the left, not the right when I'm tagging the wall there. My apologies. Okay, I can definitely feel that the tyres are not as grippy in the braking zones, but because I'm braking at the same point as I was before, I'm still making the corners because I was braking at a good point. Whereas if I'd have been braking like quali lap points, I wouldn't be able to stop the car. Tires are starting to squeal a little bit more. That's okay, we've still got the grip. I ended up slow through there, I had to get off the throttle because I took the wrong line in. Okay, so, you know what, still in the 140s, that's not bad. Sliding a bit. Needed to apply a bit more steering angle to get that turned in the second part of Demon's Elbow. And now because the tyres are a bit more worn, I can't get on the throttle after the kink because I'm still gathering the car up for braking for the for brokeback. Understeer. So the understeer we're getting now is because we've worn our tyres, but we haven't had problems with understeer at any point throughout the stint or oversteer. The question is this still drivable? The way that I've driven it, the answer so far is yes, although we have just lost a big chunk of time. This is what you'll find, you can still, oh that's going to wall, As I say, you may still have the grip, but you'll lose the lap time. Now admittedly, I don't know if I'd be going this long on these tyres, but I just wanted to prove the point. The grip can still be there even if the lap time isn't. Now what I'm going to do in a second is I'll put another set of soft tyres on. Okay, so we've hit sort of the cliff here of lap time, not of grip. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, so having to steer a lot to get it turned in, but when I'm doing that steering, I'm not on the throttle. And because I am now having to apply a little bit more steering to get the car turned in, I am having to be more cautious on the throttle. But this thing, if you were using a lot of steering angle at the start of the stint, yes, I can imagine you may suffer with understeer considerably early. I mean, I'm what, lap 7, 8, I've got understeer. Whereas if I was steering as much as I am now from the start, yeah, I probably could see getting understeer on around lap 3. So we can still make the bus stop at a decent speed, and we've got no tyres on the left-hand side. 41.8, that's not bad. Okay, so even with the tyres gone, if I wanted to, I could keep going, and I would expect now to be able to continue lapping, doing around about 142 zeros. Maybe they'll go off again, but to be honest, I'm not. I mean, we're on lap 9. I'm not going to go this far on the soft tyre, because if someone undercuts me, they're going to gain on me big time. So yeah, something to bear in mind. Okay, let's go and get a new set of soft tyres on. Okay, so this time I'm gonna sort of do aggressive, or what I would class as aggressive, quali style laps if I can, just to see how the balance of the car is and how long the tyres last. Okay, so from that stint we've just done there, the lap times were good. 39s and 40s are very good lap times for race pace, right? Excuse me, a bit windy. So I've had a good, fairly consistent run of lap times there, so I'm interested to see what I can do here. I may get a faster lap, but if it's one in the 38s and all the others in the 41s, it's not faster, is it? Now, if I happen to stumble on this working, then ignore everything I've just said. Okay, so I am going to intentionally try and drive this aggressively. It is against my style, but so doing things like a lot of steering angle, flipping the throttle a lot, staying on throttle through here. Oh, bouncing the limiter. Ooh. See, that bouncing of the limiter, for me that just equates to tyre wear. Okay, we're offline, which means turning loads. Which means turning loads. Okay. Now, the thing is, this may sound fast. I mean, the car is, but so it might sound fast, it might look fast. I'm not so sure. Can we brake at the curb? Nearly. Okay, let's go. Let's see what you got. Okay, just about made the apex, but struggling with the exit because I was offline. Too much steering angle, a lot of throttle. Listen to the tyres. This is painful to do. Okay, I'm 1.5 laps in and I've nearly used 50% of my front left tyre. I have now used 50% of my tyre new. So I'm going to try and brake at the start of the curve for one and the start of the curve for the final corner. That they're going to be two of my telling points. They ain't making it, they ain't making it. Okay, so 1 lap later, I've missed the corner. Braking at exactly the same point, pretty much, as the previous lap. I've missed the corner. The tyres are done. Well, not done, but the tyres can't do what they did on the previous lap. It ain't got the turning, it ain't got the grip. I'm barely making that one either. So because I'm not quite making these corners, it does lead you to want to steer more to make the corner. The problem is you steer more, you understeer more. Like that, or you steer more and put the throttle on and you lose the rear. I didn't even try braking at the curb, then I was before it. Okay, so that was a 143. Okay, I braked early, I'm still not making it. Now I've got to steer more. Because I was offline. Oh, this is horrible. So for anyone that has been feeling that the car handles like this for you, hopefully you can see why. Oh, listen to the squeal. Okay, so we've done 3.5 laps and the front left tyre is dead. Okay, let's brake at the curb, brake at the curb, brake at the curb, brake at the curb, brake at the curb. Bye, corner! Yep. So 141 and a half. Right, let's brake at the curb. I think that might show you everything that you need to know. Yeah. Yeah. So, when I say the braking point is here, and you go, I could brake later than that. How many times? We'll see. Hopefully this has been useful to you though, folks. If not, well, thanks for watching anyway. But yeah, 2 very different stints there. Very, very different stints. One sounded slow, but was under control, had grip, decent consistent lap times. The other one sounded fast, was all over the place, killed the tyres, and barely did 3 laps. Yeah, I know which one I'd rather do. Right, have a good one, everybody. Thanks for watching the G-Spot. I'm not going to do a medium tyre run. I think you've learnt what you need to know from here. Have a good one, everybody. See you all again soon.